All right. Yes, we are now live. Okay. Welcome, Twisters. Welcome, Sharks fans, hockey fans, wherever you are in the continent or elsewhere. My name is Nick, and the San Jose Sharks have finally picked up just their second regulation or overtime win this season, defeating the Anaheim Ducks by the score of 3-2 there. So with that, the Sharks go to, what is that now, 6-1 on the season. They just wrapped up 2 home games. They're only 2 of the season so far, but they're going to go back on the road. So their next couple of games are against the St. Louis Blues, who they've, of course, played previously a couple weeks ago, and they split those as well. But anyway, good to have you guys here. Sound off in the chat. Let's see who is tuning in here, and we'll talk a little bit about this Sharks game. And overall, it's just nice to see the boys get that regulation win right there, get the 2 points, get some contributions from a couple of players who were definitely due for contributions. John Leonard being one of them, scoring his first goal as a National Hockey League player, and doing so on the power play. So some good trends, or at least some good moments. We're bucking a couple of bad trends. So, okay, except we gave up the first goal in the first minute. So, hey, right? So that aside, though, the Sharks get a power play goal, gets scored by John Leonard, so they get a contribution outside of the top 6 right there. LeBanc scores for the first time since like the second or third game of the year. That's obviously big for him, and I thought overall he played pretty solid. Logan Couture continues a pretty nice streak here. He had his 7th goal of the season right there. A little odd, though, because, John Gibson, he wasn't quite Gibson-esque in this game. You look at 2 of those goals, I think normally he would stop those. They seemed like fairly routine saves, but that's why you play the game, and that's why you go for those shots in the first place. So kudos to the Sharks for jumping on Gibson a little bit there in the second period. Yeah. Welcome, guys. Nice to have you here. If anybody's joining and is new to this, new to the program, new to the channel, make sure you hit the red subscribe button down below and the notifications bell. And of course, as always, guys, leave a thumbs up if you're having fun with us. You can always leave a super chat as well. I always appreciate any sort of contribution you can make in that sense as well. So, yeah, the Sharks are Gibson's kryptonite. Yeah, I mean, usually like 50% of the games we kind of get the best of him. 50% of the games, even if we don't lose those games, Gibson shows up to play, and he's kind of like the best player for the Ducks. But, yeah, nice to get that win there, and especially kind of get back into that sort of conversation for potentially making a run at that 4th seed. I mean, right now, guys, it's wide open. I'm not all that surprised, but, Minnesota hasn't been playing that many games recently, and we're kind of on a bit of a slump there. LA is about the same as us. Arizona, I mean, it'll be interesting to see which team actually shows up for the rest of the year, because they've played St. Louis almost every game. They've played 7 in a row against them, and right now, even the Blues aren't super scorching. The Ducks aren't super scorching, even though they were in 4th for a while there. So we get a shot. We got a shot right there. And I got to say, Martin Jones played well tonight. He wasn't challenged that much outside of the first period, but he still made some big saves. The 2 goals that went in were kind of Ferraro's fault. I love Ferraro. I absolutely do. But I got to at least critique, when it's necessary, when you're seeing that on the ice there. So a couple of lapses, I guess, in his defensive play tonight, but nonetheless, I mean, still demonstrating a lot of confidence with the puck, and so I certainly think that he's still going to get the ice time that he's earning. I think he's still earning his ice time. That's what I meant to say. Hey guys, welcome. There's so many of you here. It's so awesome to see you around. When LeBanc scores a goal, do you believe in miracles? Yeah, I mean, he LeBanced it off of Gibson, right? So very fortuitous in that sense. Of course, Logan Couture also got the best of Gibson on the 5-hole there. And we won without Carlson or Šimek. Yeah, that's interesting as well. So the Sharks were without Radim Šimek, who's going to be missing at least a week after being blatantly cross-checked in the ribs by Jonathan Marchessault. Can somebody give me an update with how many games he's going to be suspended for? Does anybody know the Department of Player Safety? Yeah, I'm going to reach out personally to George Paris if I don't hear anything back in the next day or two. They're probably just reviewing if they want to give him, 2 or I don't think they need to give him more, but I think that warrants 2 games right there when you're trying to basically take off somebody's midsection right there. So anyway, Yeah, the game started out super ugly for us in that we do give up that first goal 51 seconds in. And it takes a while for the Sharks to really, I think, get their legs going, get that mojo back. I actually would say that the Sharks played better in the first period against Vegas, even though they didn't even get a goal in that. I think they were matching the nice intensity, if not actually driving that sort of play, essentially. So, hope Evander Kane is okay too. He had like an awkward muscle tweak or something like that. But happy to get a regulation win and in a home game. Yeah, exactly. We still have 26 of our remaining 42 games at home. So it's good to get a win in San Jose here. But of course, we got to go back on the road. I hope this win gives this team a little bit of confidence. But they were able to get it done without Carlson and Šimić. So that's good. Nicholas Miloš, as well as it was also Frederick Claesson, who was acquired just before the season started. They were the bottom pairing tonight. They didn't really see much action, though. I haven't seen the ice time, but I don't even remember really seeing them out there. It was mostly just Burns, Ferraro, and a decent helping, of course, of Vlasic and Nikolai Knizhov as well. He was on the ice for the last shift? I didn't know that. And speaking of that last shift, Sharks overall, a good job defensively in the last few minutes there. Anaheim didn't have that much in the way of chances. A couple of nice blocks from the Sharks from that end as well. Of course, the goals coming for Anaheim, those were goals from the first one was, I didn't even write it down to see who scored that goal, so excuse me for that. The second one was Maxime Comtois. He plays very well against the Sharks, so it's kind of funny when they said that he had already eclipsed his goal total from last year, because I think even last year he played pretty well against us as well. T-Dog, go Sharks. That is what we're looking at tonight. We're looking at a W, and a regulation W, finally. It was a little interesting there. The Sharks kind of took their foot off the gas. Still kind of making some heads-down passes out of their own zone. So in the neutral zone, there were stretches where I think they were certainly kind of out of sync there, but in the second period, that looked its best. Of course, looking at the second period, the Sharks did a nice job. They closed out things pretty well. They outscored Anaheim in that period 2-0, both on even strength goals there. So that's something you want to see continue. The Sharks only took one penalty in this game. I think that maybe LeBanc could have gotten docked for another one, but that wasn't called. They were the recipient of 2 power plays, and the power plays weren't great tonight, but they looked better than what we've seen, I would say, for the majority of the last 2 weeks or so. Jones had a .929 save percentage. That's very good. Again, I don't think that down the stretch he was tested nearly as much. There were a couple of close calls nonetheless. You liked how Miloš played? Well, he didn't do anything that made me upset, so there you go. Hey, what's up, Kim? Oh my goodness, kind of late over there, isn't it? Well, here, because you tuned in, we'll give Cortana a goal treat or a victory treat. Here, Cortana, you want a treat? Come here, girl. Come on, come get a treat. She's like, huh? What? Do I have to get up for this? Here we go, Cortana. Here we go. Ready, Cortana? I got the treat right here. What are you doing? Got to show your face. Got to make an appearance. There you go, kiddo. Okay, here. I'll tilt this camera down because she's being a little lazy. Oh, hi, kiddo. Yeah, the Sharks won tonight. Here, can you come up? Whoop. Come on up, girl. Here, we're gonna have to make this. We can do it. We can do it, guys. We can do it. Come on. We have to do it. Come on, Cortana. Come up. Roti. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Oh, can I get a kiss? Victory kiss? Victory kiss. All right, good job. There she goes. All right, good girl. Good job. Yeah, I should put her in her Sharks jersey next time. It's a little difficult. Yeah, the Arnold voice. I actually, for a little while there, I worked on marketing creative for Mobile Strike, so I had to write some ad copy for, with Arnold Schwarzenegger's name in there. Interestingly enough, Team MVP Cortana, Fohammer, Pinkerton, of course. Anyway, you guys are the real MVP, of course. Let's see. What else do I want to point out here? Yeah, again, I mean, really nice to see John Leonard. I think that. He's had an interesting journey so far in his first, 9 or so, 10 games, because you look at the training camp that he had. He was, known as maybe the best forward out of training camp. So you think, well, where's this guy coming from? Is this the next Joe Pavelski? Another late round draft pick from Doug Wilson. But he comes in, plays the first 7 games, And in that 7th game, he has this really bad giveaway against Colorado that springs that breakaway attempt that makes it, I think, 3-0 or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, and John Leonard looked engaged. He had his speed about him as well. The other guy who I actually thought played pretty well today, I guess because Sorensen must have been scratched, is I think Rudolph's Balcers actually played a really good game. He had a key back check, I think in the 3rd period there. He had a couple of heads-up plays, shot a couple of pucks to the net. Again, for someone who is coming over, kind of a, you don't want to say a journeyman necessarily, but somebody who is kind of a fringe NHL player, guy's doing pretty well in this game here. So I liked what I saw there from number 92. The guy who I think played really, really well from the forward group who didn't get in the score sheet was Timo Meier, actually. I think kind of like Balcers, Timo Meier played well at both in the transition game, a lot of carrying the puck and showing that he actually has some pretty good speed, and he had pretty good puck control as well. And his physicality was there too. He got in on the forecheck. He wasn't afraid to take contact to make a play. So I've liked the last couple. Oh, we got an assist? Oh, I stand corrected, or I sit corrected. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know, Alex. Yeah, I think that he looks much more dialed in. I liked the line of Gambrell, Donato, and was it? Why am I blanking right now? Gambrell played with Donato, and I don't think it was with Balcers, was it? Or was Leonard with that line? Well, anyway, Gambrell, I think, continues to show that he is sort of solidifying himself, I want to say, as the 3rd-line center, which was, as I mentioned in my season preview, that was the biggest gap for me with the Sharks. That was the biggest hole. It was the center depth. After Couture and Meier, 3rd and 4th line centers. But we've even seen Marleau kind of fill in there as well. And again, I think Gambrell is doing some nice things at both ends of the ice. He's forechecking. He's making good plays. His puck IQ, pardon me, is certainly higher than I would have expected it to be. So overall, that was very, very satisfying to see as well. And just defensively, I think the Sharks looked pretty good. I mean, a couple blunders especially from Mario Ferraro. Love the guy nonetheless. But yeah, he's probably going to be kind of in his head about that for a little while here. So I hope that, that the rest of his team can continue to play well around him to where he feels like he doesn't have to do everything perfectly out there. I think Burns actually played pretty well defensively tonight. Knizhov's mostly as good of a depth defenseman, I think, as you can get. 43, 16, 7. Okay, so Leonard was playing with Donato and Gambrell. Thanks, guys. You're feeding my stats here, feeding the notes. Penalty kill. Yeah, we only had to kill 1 penalty, but Anaheim's power play was not really a factor there. It was crazy, guys, because just 3 games ago, before we went into Los Angeles, our penalty kill was ranked, I believe, 3rd. But then it dropped all the way down to 21st. And this was a team that, of course, led the league in penalty kill last year. But the team didn't concede a goal, and they weren't in the penalty box very much. So that is good to see as well. I'm just trying to see if there were any last-minute notes that I wanted to draw on for this game here. I can also look at the stats. I liked Jones had a really nice stop in the 2nd period off of Lundstrom, who looks very nice for the Ducks. You always think of Terry, Steele, Comtois, even, of course, Zagris when he breaks in. But this Lundstrom looks particularly saucy when it comes to playing against the Sharks. So Jones with a nice glove save off of that. I don't know if Lundestrom got quite all of the puck on that or his stick on the puck there, but it was still a good opportunity for him there. And yeah, I mean, again, the Sharks doing a nice job of kind of overcoming a lackluster first period right there. That's what happens when your goaltender answers the bell there, and Jones certainly did that. And also one more note I want to make when it comes to my observations here was that Devin Dubnyk is now back on the roster. He'd been out for a couple of games. That's really nice to see because he needs to get back in there and get some time because Jones has been getting, a majority of the starts here. I think he's started 9 or 10 of the 14 games. And Doobie, his numbers are really good. I think his level of competition, his competitiveness has been even better than his numbers indicate there. So I would think that Dubnyk is going to get at least half the games as long as he's pretty healthy now. Ooh, pardon me, a little gas buildup there. So anyway, good job overall. Let's take a look at just some of the numbers before I put a bow on this particular game here. So I'm going to dive into the stats. If you guys just give me one quick moment here. Anyway, here we go. So the Sharks, this is good because against Vegas, they looked weak in the faceoff circle. They were only 41%. They were 55% tonight, and the shots were 29-28, which, again, is good for San Jose. Anaheim's not offensively there yet. It's going to take a little while until this team really develops its young talent. But even so, the Sharks, they've been giving up over 32 shots per game. So now they are at 28 shots against this game, so that's a little bit better there. Only took one penalty, led the hits at 18-15, led in block shots 16-13. Had 9 giveaways, though. I did mention that earlier. A lot of heads down passes right there. Burns, I did credit him defensively in terms of his ability to prevent quality opportunities. Nonetheless, though, he did have a couple of boneheaded giveaways himself. So, the Burnsy taketh and the Burnsy giveth away. Let's look at some of these other numbers for the team. Who led in our shots on goal here? So Logan Couture had 5. And, of course, he was credited with the third goal of the game, which actually ended up being the game winner. Timo Meier did have 5 goals. Damn, I wish. He had 5 shots on goal. He was actually a -1 out there, but nonetheless, I think that his competitiveness was certainly among the best that I saw from this club this evening. 4 shots on goal for Kevin Labanc, too, so that's good. Labanc is somebody who I do criticize for not shooting enough, but he looked a lot more confident with the puck in this contest here. So anyway, that's the shots on goals leaders there. Matt Nieto with 3 hits to lead the forwards. Actually, how many shots did Burnsy have? Brent Burns didn't have a shot on goal, guys. It's a little different this year in terms of the shots on goal that you're seeing from him and Carlson. They're a lot less activated, I want to say, which I do kind of like in some sense. Burns, he probably had a couple of shot attempts nonetheless. 3 hits by Knizhov. That's very good, especially with Šimik out. You need somebody who's not afraid to bang bodies. Knizhov is showing himself to be a fairly versatile defenseman out there, too. Hey, guys. Oh, my God. You guys are tuning in so late. Anyway, and then, of course, Jones saving 25 out of 20, or excuse me, saving 27 out of 29 for a uncommon for Martin Jones, 929 save percentage. I'll take that, though. I think he played a very nice game. So very good there. And we'll take a little look at the ice time. So the ice time leader on defense, no surprise, Brent Burns, 26 minutes, 46 seconds. That's around his average for the season right now. I think he still leads all skaters when it comes to ice time. Let's see here. 21-41 for Knizhov, guys. Nikolai Knizhov, over 21 minutes of ice time. Hey, the guy's done pretty well for himself so far. He was a +1 tonight, too. So hopefully he can get some more minutes here while Šimik is out and maybe even Carlson, too. Milosh and Clayson only got about 10 minutes apiece. Not too surprising there. Vlasic ate up almost 25 minutes. Ferraro with almost 24 minutes right there. And in the forward group, our ice time leaders were, let's take a gander here. Evander Kane, actually, even though he had that brief moment where he left the ice, he had over 20 minutes of ice time here. Couture, 18:30. Labanc, 18:36. Again, nice to see Banker out there. And, of course, a good chunk of that was on the power play. Nonetheless, but overall, pretty good ice time. The only guy who was below 12 minutes, I want to say. Yeah, the only guy who was below 12 minutes was Stefan Nason. And he's just getting back into the swing of things. That's his first game in quite some time right there. So anyway, guys, I think that I'm going to put a bow on the Sharks game. Not so sure if you guys want to chat about anything else as it pertains to the NHL or hockey in general. I can just read off the box scores in the meantime. Post your questions, observations, and comments down below, of course. Jojo Brownie, it's 12-18, exactly. And Ravens, thank you for joining from BC as well. All right, so Arizona got a win against the St. Louis Blues. So that's crazy, man. They played each other 7 times in a row. We had the Islanders topping Buffalo by a score of 3-1. I think the game everybody's talking about today was, thanks, Alex. Have a good one. Canes, yeah, man. I saw a couple highlights from that as well. Yeah, you're right, RK. The big story tonight was the Maple Leafs. I think they were up, 5-1? I wasn't actually watching the game, but they fell in overtime, so at least they got a point. But still, that's pretty embarrassing. The Senators coming out on top 6-5 right there. Jumbo Joe Thornton, though, coming back after an injury with a goal and an assist. 6 unanswered goals for the Hurricanes as they, wow, it almost seems like they've shellacked the Blue Jackets after that. That score was 7-3. My preseason pick to win the Stanley Cup, by the way, against what would be the Montreal Canadiens. So far, you guys, I'm kind of liking my prediction. Let's look at, the Battle of Florida. I did watch this game. The Battle of Florida. I am stoked. I'm just delighted to see the Panthers out there. They've been winning earlier this season by lower scores, but in a couple of games, they've conceded 10 goals. Nonetheless, though, they hang a sixer on Curtis McElhinney, not Vasilevsky. But the Panthers come out victorious there and split the the extended weekend Battle of Florida there. So the Cats, man, I think the record goes to 9-2-2. Watch out, man. I'm digging what I'm seeing in Florida, faux show. The Blackhawks got a 3-2 win over the Red Wings. They held on in overtime there. The Winnipeg Jets won a track meet. A lot of 80s, like 1980s games out there today, my friends. They beat the Edmonton Oilers 6-5. So the Jets have 6 on the Oil. Calgary outlasts Vancouver in overtime by the score of 4-3. And that is it, other than, of course, the San Jose Sharks. Did I see the power play goal? My guy scored it. Nasty. Who, Aho? If you're talking about the Canes, I did say he would win the Richard. I don't know exactly how that prediction's going so well. Yeah, the Jets won. They continue to be a pretty darn competitive club night in, night out. You love seeing the Panthers win. I do too, for sure. And that's the post-game league-wide wrap, I would guess. So anyway, Nino. Oh, El Nino. Yeah. That's right. Nino. It's funny because there's actually a street that I live near called Nider. It's spelled Neider, at least intuitively it should be Nider because EI, just like German. I always call that street Nieder Street. But anyway. Oh, you loved the video with Charlotte? Thank you. Yeah, we had a blast with that. That was her idea too. She was like, I want to see how many of these I can put on. And I'm like, okay, we'll do it. And the Hawks robbed the W tonight. So they snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. Hey, the Hawks, doesn't matter who it's coming against, they're finding ways to win. I'm pleasantly surprised, especially as I picked them to finish last in the division. So that's me eating my words. And speaking, guys, you have a good night, T-Dog. Catch you later. Hope you sleep well after a Sharks win, even if you're not a Sharks fan. But I do want to point out, tomorrow, guys, actually, in about, 10 hours from now, I am dropping a new video. I am going to actually rank the NHL's primary logos. I'm finally going to get around to doing that. And I have a very unique formula in figuring out what the rankings are. So whether or not you like my predictions or whether or not you think you'll like my predictions, I invite you to check it out. It's going to be interesting to see what people think of this one, because even I surprised myself a little bit too. Oh my God, Eustace, Guten Tag. Welcome to the stream here. You're waking up to a San Jose Sharks victory right there. Nice job for the Canadiens to rebound against the Maple Leafs in the most recent game there. Will the Knights get revenge? Well, you guys already won the first contest. I mean, Marc-Andre Fleury's looking like a stud. I don't really know how much else you can ask for here. So we're the ones who need to come back, and I mean, we need to be a little bit nastier, frankly. So let's see here. Any other questions that you guys might have? The Canes' main logo has some basis from the international symbol for a hurricane. That's interesting. That is interesting there. I did not know that, number one. So I'm sure that you and other people can teach me things I didn't know about certain NHL logos. But it's interesting to me because the Hurricanes over the last few years, their marketing has been much more around the storm flag, from the pattern on the jerseys to putting in the collar. Even on the Whalers jersey, they did that, or at least the green Whalers jersey, they did that. To the, of course, the alternate jersey with the very nice little North Carolina outline and the negative space right there. Who will be the Sharks MVP this season? I mean, it's got to be the captain right now, Couture, especially if the team finds a way to turn things around because he's the captain. And of course, they're coming, they're just 2 years removed from making the conference finals right there. And just if they're able to bounce back, kind of like they did in 2015 or 2016, I should say, then I think that would certainly speak volumes to what Couture brings as a leader and a leader by example. That's the thing. Logan, that's the kind of leader that he is. I think that, I certainly trust in his leadership, his experience. And I don't think the Sharks are out of it by any means, but it's going to be an uphill climb. It's going to be steeper than I had imagined initially. You didn't have the Hawks last. You don't know why we thought they'd be worse than Detroit? I don't know. I just looked at the roster after the Hawks had those injuries. I looked at the goaltending, and I certainly because we didn't, come on. I don't think anybody really knew that Lankinen was going to be good necessarily, or even knew who he was. So I looked at Jonathan Bernier and Thomas Greiss, and I said, okay, things could be a lot worse. I mean, I'll take Greiss over Howard. I think that's an upgrade. Oh my goodness, from one legend to another. There's John from Hot Take Hockey in the chat. Let's get some Hot Take Hockey hype down there. What are you doing up, man? Then again, after that Leafs game, you probably can't sleep. I don't fault you for that. But hey, Jumbo Joe getting on the board. Hey, buddy. Could I see Ehlers winning the Rocket? I haven't really been watching enough of that, but yeah, he seems to be the talk of the town this year in Winnipeg there. Oh, you were talking about in the playoffs between Vegas and San Jose. I mean, it's possible that our teams could meet. As I mentioned just a moment ago, I think the Sharks' chance of getting into that playoff spot is going to be more difficult than I imagined, honestly. But I would imagine, as I said in my season predictions, I think Vegas would be the number 1 seed out of that division. And so, yeah, I mean, if we had to play Vegas in the playoffs, man, oh man, I would be surprised if you didn't win it in less than 5 games. Favorite Leafs player this season besides Jumbo Joe? Come on, Wayne Train, man, Wayne Simmons. I think that he's been kind of a shot in the arm in some of those games for sure too. The Sharks have a tough next 7 games. Yeah, man, because they're going to be going up mostly against Vegas, Colorado, and St. Louis. So I am a little worried about that. But then again, I mean, you look at it this way. The Sharks had 2 games against the Blues earlier. They won one in a shootout. They lost one in a very close game. I think that could be okay. And that was with Dubnyk in net too. So I think of that. Colorado, I know that we got shellacked in one of those games, but in the other game, we played them really well for about 50 minutes, and then they finally broke through there. So I'm not saying we're going to win necessarily, but in terms of making things competitive, I think this team can answer the bell. And then you've got Vegas, and again, I think 5-on-5, we actually played maybe even a little bit better than Vegas on Saturday. So I hope that we're able to patch up the penalty kill. Maybe we can do so against the St. Louis Blues. They haven't had quite the same impact with Krug back there as with Pietrangelo. But then again, Justin Falk, that's the guy who we got to be marking this upcoming game. Him and, of course, O'Reilly too. But Justin Falk, man, he ate us alive, man. What do I think of the Galchenyuk trades? Yeah, it's crazy. Isn't that like his 7th team in 4 years or something like that? I guess he's just going to be kind of a fringe NHL player at this point. I mean, are the Leafs going to really have any use for him? I think they want to play some of their youth a little bit more. But anyway, the Storm flags are your mark and secondary logo, so it's very marketable. But the main is the Hurricane. Yeah, that's true. I mean, like that's the actual cane. Well, anyway, I didn't put you guys last. Maybe you would appreciate if I had put them higher. But with all of these logos, I do point out things that I like and I don't like about the logos. To me, there isn't really a logo. I found out that there really isn't one that I think is bad. I think that in some ways, some logos aren't good. In some ways, logos I don't like, in some ways, are actually good. So I have a very unique formula and way of evaluating things. 7th team in 32 months. My goodness. You guys are full of all kinds of good information tonight. I mean, come on. When are you not? But particularly tonight. Wow, that's not even 3 years. 7th team. I mean, think about where he's gone, too. He's been in Montreal. He's been in Arizona, Minnesota, Toronto, of course, Carolina, Pittsburgh. This guy's been just about everywhere. So many teams getting games canceled. I mean, I haven't really been following the storyline too much beyond that. It's just, I'm not entirely surprised to see that, frankly. I think it's more about, they want to cut off the circulation of that moment there and isolate that as best as they can before these other teams have to go on the road and play other teams. That's just my dryer. Got the long johns. The long johns are in the dryer right now because it was interesting because toward the beginning of this month, it was nearly like 55 degrees here, which is unseasonably warm here in North Idaho. But then we had a nice cold snap. I'm sure a lot of you guys it's probably way colder than where it is for me, but we got down to like maybe 5 degrees, and then with the wind chill, maybe like -5 Fahrenheit. So that was certainly something that I was curious about. But yeah, I've enjoyed it so far. And then after a few days, it just dumped snow today. So I'm very excited to have a nice patch of snow out there. Cortana was out there playing, having a ball. You guys might have seen the photo I uploaded to Twistagram, of course. Anyway, got derailed for a moment there. Do I have hockey items from a grandparent or something? The only thing I can think of, Josiah, is when my grandmother was really? Damn, that is loud. Anyway, my grandmother one time went to the USSR, and she brought me back this little wooden stick, maybe a little bit longer than this. It's actually like a goalie paddle, and it doesn't have real signatures from like the national players, but it basically has like replicated signatures of them on there, and it's in, of course, Russian, so the Cyrillic alphabet there. So I do have a little piece of USSR hockey, which is kind of cool. That's about it, though, because hockey is something that was entirely foreign to my family for the most part. Some of my like my great uncle, some of my cousins, I don't really keep in touch with them as closely. They're on the East Coast, so I think they probably watch some hockey out there. I would think that they would, but having a very closer family that is based primarily in California, hockey wasn't a thing until in the 1990s, essentially. So that's what's up. Anchorage, Alaska is around -23 right now. That's completely not surprising. I can't imagine what it's like in places like northern Minnesota or where my friend is in northern Wisconsin. The Canes' main logo should be in the upper quarter. I don't have it there, but again, like I said, it's not last, and it's not almost last. Okay, so there you go. It's a late stream. Yeah, I mean, for you, it would certainly be, Evan. I appreciate you even just jumping in here for a moment. I just wanted to go live a little bit before, because tomorrow I actually have a video coming up, so I wasn't going to do a Sharks game recap. I think probably I'll do more live streams for the Sharks. Maybe not every game, but after like every series, as I've been doing with the game recaps, I'll probably replace that with a live stream. I like it too because I don't have to spend as much time in editing in terms of getting graphics. I get my information from you guys here a little bit here tonight. You guys have been fantastic in that sense. Danelle, I don't even know if I've answered a question from you. Coyotes and Panthers debuting their reverse retros. Coyotes, I appreciate the purple. I mean, man, the Coyotes are the kings of just absolutely bat-esque crazy color schemes, because the Kachina jersey is not a color scheme. That's not a real color scheme. It is so incredibly imbalanced. And so is the Peyote jersey. But hot damn, I love seeing them in purple out there. So they get my kudos, absolutely. I'm not sure if I'll get that reverse retro, or maybe one day, maybe I'll find it. Find one on eBay or something, because I already have the original one in green. That's what matters most. And as for the Panthers, those are really nice as well. I think that maybe it's a little bit too detailed, or a little bit too, maybe a little bit too busy. And I usually like more busy versus more simplistic. But nonetheless, still a really good looking logo. Nice to see them in navy. So yeah, it's 45 in NorCal where you live. I mean, That's pretty par for the course around this time of year, especially because you usually have more humidity in the air too. Because of February is rain month in California. The Penguins have interest in Gibson. Interesting. Well, I mean, I don't know, Evan. I mean, they would have to put forth a pretty damn handsome package for the Ducks, because so far the Ducks have just as good of a chance as all the other teams in terms of making the playoffs in that division. Oh yeah, yeah, Danelle. So folks like Riley and myself, where we are in Northern California, or even just in California in general, like 96% of the population of California is away from any sort of snowy climate. But where Riley is, he gets a little bit of that's 10K subs by March, if I'm correct. Danelle, yeah. So like where Riley's from, he'll get like a dusting of snow because he's a little bit higher up in elevation, closer to the Sierra Nevadas. So in the Sierras, of course, we get tons of snow there. So I that's what do I miss about California? Oh, I miss Lake Tahoe. I mean, I do miss like a little view of the ocean now and then, but that's more where I grew up, not necessarily where I was living most recently before coming up here. But yeah, I'm looking for thunderstorms. Interesting. I never really think of February as a thunderstorm month. Speaking of reverse retros, guys, I can't remember exactly when they're going to debut it, but we still need to show these off too. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm sure that the accommodating uniform will be looking pretty sharp as well. There. Pardon me. Anyway, well, that pretty much does it in terms of course, talking about the Sharks here. And I did a little, read around of all the scores there. March 8th will be the debut. Oh, that's interesting. God, you guys are full of all kinds of good information. Thank you, Evan. The reason why that's interesting is because that is the last time the Sharks, that is a year away from the Sharks when they had to shut down because of COVID restrictions, or at least that was their last home game, March 8th last year. Well, guys, is there anything else as it pertains to the Sharks or the NHL that I can answer for you? I know it's kind of the Canes trades. So you guys dumped a Zingle. That was surprising that you pulled the trigger like that in the middle of the season because, this guy only played a year for them, but he's been kind of a non-factor. At least, he had a nice season or two for Ottawa where he was actually scoring more. So, shoot. And you got just a couple of players I can't name off the top of my head, unfortunately. So anyway, I trust in Don Waddell. Nonetheless, I think that, the way that he's been able to make certain moves and attract players or get players like Niederreiter, of course, like Trocheck even. And Trocheck's been playing better for you guys this year too, right? I at least hope so. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that the Canes will find a way to make it work. They're just a team that can win by committee. I know that they do have a couple of stars out there, but I'm sure these guys will, slot in and actually have a sort of role at some point in the season. G'day! What's up, Vandalay? Has there been a hockey moment that makes me cry? That's actually a good question. Well, I mean, I'm putting together a video right now that I expect to debut on Friday. That is the 30 greatest moments in San Jose Sharks franchise history. 30 greatest moments throughout the franchise because of the 30th anniversary. And I went back and I watched all kinds of highlights. I watched stuff from Link Gates fighting Bob Probert in their inaugural season. I watched Owen Nolan in the 2000 playoffs scoring one of the greatest goals, just period. I saw, of course, the 2016 Western Conference victory. I, watched the shark head being lowered in the playoffs. And man, seeing Joe Pavelski out there when they won the Western Conference, seeing Joe Thornton, man, I did get a little teary-eyed. I can't really ever remember another moment where it really did that for me in terms of like in the moment of watching a game or right after the game. But I'm sure that there have been moments where I've been kind of reminiscing it, and that sort of get a little choked up there. But yeah, of course, if we ever win the Stanley Cup, then waterworks. If the Leafs win the Stanley Cup this year, and I see Jumbo Joe Thornton hoist that majestic of a trophy, yeah, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get quite teary-eyed because that is somebody who has dedicated their whole life for that moment and has achieved so much along the way. But of course, that none of that is going to mean anything at that very moment, because he'll actually have what he has sought after so long. And I mean, that's the way it is for so many other players out there. Guys like, of course, Raymond Bourque, Rod Brindamore, Dave Andreychuk, right? So seeing the Leafs playing well, that has me excited. I just hope that Jumbo stays healthy in the process. And, of course, if somebody else won the Stanley Cup, like Joe Pavelski, if he did, if he pulled it off, even when Goodrow won, I wasn't teary-eyed, but I was definitely, I felt a little bit of a warmness in the soul there. So it's great because he played his ass off to keep a spot on the roster there, and he put together his best season the year after scoring, of course, that Game 7 overtime winner. And it was a great factor for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I'm so happy for Goody in that sense too. Second day on the new job. All right, man. Congratulations. That is fantastic. Getting a new job, man. That is weight off your shoulders and money in the bank. The Sharks jersey that I am wearing right now should have been their 30th anniversary in Adidas. I definitely agree. Yes, absolutely. As long as they kept the collar, because the way they did that toilet seat collar on the new one, I can't stand it. Oh, Rod the Bod. Yeah, I can't believe it, because I wasn't so dialed into the NHL at that time. But then when I made a couple of videos, I talked about like great final seasons and journeymen, and I can't remember what it was, but I was reflecting on the Hurricanes, and oh my goodness, that 06 roster was so stacked. It was amazing. Well, anyway, Vandalay, yeah, that's excellent that you have new employment, of course, and even in these times, I'm sure it's a little bit more challenging as well. So I guess I can take a moment to reflect on my appreciation for having a job too, but of course, being able to continue this as much as I am. So let's see, guys. I think that things might be kind of winding down here. Of course, let me know if otherwise, but this is probably where I can do a bit of a sign off here. So again, as I mentioned, tomorrow, or I guess in a few hours for you guys, essentially about 9 hours from now at 8 a.m. Pacific time, then I will be dropping a video that I have been meaning to get to for some time. That is ranking the NHL logos 1 to 32 using a very unique formula. So stick around for that. Then Friday, we'll have the 30 greatest moments in San Jose Sharks franchise history. I have all sorts of other content planned. There are 2 jersey unboxing videos that I know I'm going to do. I think that one of them will be maybe next week. One sec. Oh yeah, guys, and as some of you have probably also learned, I am going to be opening the Twisted Wrister Hockey merch store at the end of this month. I've ordered some merch for myself. I'm going to box that toward the end of the month, and then of course I'm going to do a giveaway so that a lucky winner will get some Twisted Wrister merch of his or her choice. Which teams? Oh yeah, which teams are we rooting for? That's always good to find out. Of course, the 06 team. Yeah, man. Wait, was Hedekin? Hedekin was one of them, right? Yeah, he was. Brett Hedekin. Good old Minnesota boy. Married to Christy Yamaguchi. Yeah, he was there. Of course, Stahl was as well, or multiple Stahls, I'm sure. Yeah. You work for one of the best mass transit systems, the MTA. 4 years. Wow. That's excellent, man. Way to go. I have made it 4 years one time in a job, so I know that's quite the journey these days. I've never been on the MTA, I don't think, because I haven't been to New York since I was a kid. But you talk about good transit systems. I'm sure that that's one of them because I mean, every time somebody mentions that, it seems like there's a new stop or a new station. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. It just you can't run out of places to go, apparently. But of course, the L. Don't forget the L in Chicago. That is particularly fantastic as well. Oh, your mom met Christy Yamaguchi? That's so cool. Yeah, I didn't even know that she was a Bay Area native until I was growing up more. But I remember as a kid watching her in the Winter Olympics. She was just shredding it out there for sure. Pepsi Man, what's up? In a perfect world, the Sharks would be a cup contender. So the world was perfect at one point. Hey, now. And Thornton would want to be traded here and win it. Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. Things are meant to be. Everything happens for a reason. I don't know. I kind of believe that. I don't know. Jumbo will always be back in San Jose. He'll always call San Jose his home. I'm sure that he's going to have some sort of a role with the Sharks at some point. And he'll be a reason why people still want to play hockey there, I'm hoping. So, who's my favorite Mighty Ducks character in the Mighty Ducks movies? Oh, I don't know, man. That's tough. I mean, do I choose someone generic or do I actually go off the beaten path here? It's got to be Luis Mendoza, man. Mike Vitar, Benny the Jet Rodriguez, Luis Mendoza. Absolutely. What a shredder, man. Or Foggy Nelson. I forgot the actor's name. No, I almost had it there. Foggy, the guy who's Foggy Nelson in Daredevil. I look like Aberman. I don't really see the resemblance entirely. Have I checked out Ghost? Yeah, I have. Not extensively. I need to try listening to them a little bit more. I couldn't really get into them all that much. Not to say I thought they were bad. It just wasn't necessarily like my type of music so much. You like the Bash Bros? There you go. Those guys are pretty darn awesome. Cam Ward. Yeah, Cam Ward was just studly. You're either rooting for Jumbo or Pavelski to win? Yeah, I mean, it could get to that point for sure. Got to get to homeschooling. All right, Eustace, have a good day. Where could you buy an old Solani jersey? Okay, I'm not entirely sure. So Josiah, my first bet would be you would have to have some coin on you, but you could go to custom throwback jerseys. I'm pretty sure that they'll have it. I got my Temu through Hockey Authentic. You know, you're well aware of who they are, but I think they only had my size. So I don't know if they're going to keep carrying that necessarily. What is the holy grail for Twister Wrister? Well, welcome, Niall. I'm just taking a guess. Well, I have the 25th anniversary for the Sharks in Reebok Premier, so the replica, but I want that one in an authentic, man. I've had a chance to get it before. I've had a couple of chances. One time somebody listed it on eBay for $200, my size with Joe Thornton, like full customization on it, and I didn't snatch it up because I wasn't in the market to buy a jersey. I am kicking myself for that. Otherwise, I don't know. I have a couple of my favorite jerseys for sure, like ones I've always kind of wanted. I think of also like a powder blue Thrashers, Coho or CCM, not the Reebok because that didn't have that fun little pattern at the bottom. There are a couple other ones, like Windy City Hockey, for example. Yeah, $200. It was snatched up quick. Well, it was customized too. You're talking about a jersey that retailed for $300, and then you put the customization on top of it. That's like a $400 jersey. So yeah, authentic Adidas jersey sites that are good. Yeah, I mean like Cool Hockey and Hockey Authentic, River City Sports. what's the other one I'm thinking of? SportsK. Love SportsK. Although, Matthew, I know that it's going to be a little hard for you to, find a good quote when it comes to shipping. SportsK is expensive for international shipping. I think it's like I think it's like $35, and it might be even more. But they have the greatest deals on blank Adidas jerseys. Who is the toughest team that they face? The Hawks, Team Iceland, or the Warriors? I'd have to go back and watch D3. It's been since I was probably about like 11 or 12 years old. But if I had to compare the Hawks and Team Iceland, it's been a while since I watched these. But I watched D2 a whole bunch. And to me, Team Iceland was more intimidating, I guess. See, we're with D1, it was more about Bombay's coach being sort of the antagonist. Whereas in D2, it's more about the actual players for Iceland just being more intimidating. And it's so funny because I didn't even know anything about Iceland as a kid. So I'm like, whoa, what is Iceland? Like, it's like these crazy, giant, like strong stone-faced kids. This place must be savage. Turns out it's like this, beautiful, majestic, exotic island with all kinds of friendly people, but like only 350,000 of them or whatever. So anyway, Advanced City Sports can get a hold of the barber pole. I'm not so sure about that. They list a lot of jerseys, but the thing is that they don't update their site as to what their availability is, or it's kind of hard to figure that out essentially. But yeah, I want to visit Iceland too. A lot of people I know have gone there on vacation because it's the quickest country if you're trying to find a country in Europe, unless you want to count Greenland, but that's really not possible. I mean, because it's like really hard to actually make a trip out of that. But yeah, it seems beautiful. Iceland, very very majestic. Very, what do I want to say? It's kind of like otherworldly, I guess. Kind of like going to the moors of Scotland. So yeah. But anyway, guys, have to worry about pricing. What jerseys would I love to have? Yeah, I mean, probably what I mentioned, that Sharks Grail jersey for me is a Reebok Authentic. Outside of that, I mean, there's a Blackhawks Reebok Authentic. It's the black third jersey. As a replica, that logo is not chain stitched, but the Authentic is really hard to find. It's got the chain stitched logo. And Nick, Windy City Hockey, he was here just earlier. He has that jersey with Jonathan Taves on it, I want to say. So when you get a customization on that and you got the chain stitch logo, that is one of the absolute best jerseys out there across all sports, I would say. But anyway, guys, I think I'm going to hang my hat on this one, though, because we're getting close to 11 o'clock, and this old man has to get up and do the job in the morning. So I'm going to have to, I don't have to, but I'm going to make the decision to leave you wanting more, and hopefully we get a chance to talk again soon. I'll be live again within the next week or so, of course, doing a Sharks recap here and there, as well as maybe going live during a game or something of that nature. Also, this is more of a note to self, but I need to also get my program ready, because in a little bit less than 2 weeks, I'm actually planning to run a live stream for people who are considering starting a YouTube channel, especially as it pertains to sports, people maybe who started one and just don't really know how to get it going. And so we'll have that as part of our live stream lineup as well. I have a couple of other great ideas for live streams. So bring back the black in Adidas. You're absolutely right. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. This is my boilerplate. Make sure if you had a good time, leave a thumbs up. Helps the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, but I think you all are. Nonetheless, I'll see you around for more hockey content. You guys have a great night or day. For those of you on the other side of the world, I'll catch you Twisters later. Ciao. And go Sharks.